Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Gemini March 2023 weekly illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So, hi, everyone, and welcome. This reading is going to be taking a look at the energies for the week ahead, or roughly about 7 days from when you choose to watch this video. So we're going to jump right in here. I'm going to be taking a look at the energy that you're bringing to the week, Gemini. We're going to be taking a look at what's going on around you and your environment. And then we're going to be looking at a block or a challenge that's going to be coming up. We'll get advice from Spirit as to how to overcome that. And then an opportunity that's looking to come in for you. Now today I'm recording this on March 7th. Today is the Virgo full moon. It's a beautiful moon to really release any of those kind of negative, self-sabotaging or unhealthy habits that we have, to really allow ourselves to get prepared for the Aries new moon that is coming up towards the end of the month. That really is the start of the astrological new year. So Aries is the start of the Zodiac cycle, and this year March has so many big players, big planetary players that are very slow moving into new planets, into new signs. And so there is kind of a major, not only a collective shift, but also this is going to present individually to each one of us. So this is a great time this week to really, get rid of those kind of wounds from the past, kind of go into more of even what I like to call our spiritual closets, and remove some of those things that are weighing us down so we can really move forward as a more confident, lighter version of ourselves. Okay, so Gemini, we have the Hermit for your internal energy, and in your external energy, interesting, we have the full reversed. We have Four of Wands, and we have Ace of Wands. Now, this is interesting because I don't put reversals in my deck. So when they come out, it's always a shock, but also a very pointed message. So I leave them as such because that was meant to happen. So, excuse me. The Hermit energy is a very positive energy, and it actually is perfect for the Virgo full moon because this is the card of Virgo in the tarot. So the Hermit speaks to a kind of a soul-seeking energy. It's one where we get to go within alone and really take a look at what makes us unique. What is that guiding hope, dream, wish within ourselves? And what do we uniquely bring to every situation? What is the gift that lies within that needs to be brought out and shown from our lantern? And that's what the Hermit does. The Hermit brings out that beautiful part of himself and puts it in the lantern to not only guide his way forward, his next steps forward, but also to guide others towards him, that others will see that light, will see that uniqueness, that talent, that gift, and want to be a part of that. So for many of you, you've been kind of sitting with that. Maybe you have been doing some soul seeking. You've been really taking a look at, who you are uniquely, what you bring to the table, and maybe a deep residing dream that you have within yourself that you really want to start to walk the steps towards manifesting for yourself. Now, with the Fool, the Four of Wands, and the Ace of Wands, this is very interesting. Now, the Fool reversed, the Fool upright is about kind of leaping into the new. It's the start of a new cycle. It's that 0 point, kind of wipe the slates clean. But for many of you with the Fool reversed, this is where maybe you don't, one of two things. Either you're too afraid to jump into something, or something is being delayed. That this could be why you are kind of going within, because the something that you want to leap into, or something new, because with the Four of Wands, this can be a new foundation. This can be also what you want to build. This could be a marriage. But there's something foundational, something that you want to kind of, maybe you have to commit to something over here. There's something with the Fool coming in that reverse might say, maybe it is it's better to kind of look before you leap. You may be presented with an opportunity with the Ace of Wands. This is kind of like that aha, that inspiration that kind of comes in out of nowhere. This is that idea of like, oh, this is a new way to do something, or this is, I'm trying to think of how a good example of what I could state with this. But for many of you, while I'm thinking of that example, I can see that this is just more of a kind of look before you leap. Maybe you really do want to leap into a marriage or a relationship, or you really want to set this foundation for something new. This could be wanting to set a foundation for a new career path, wanting to set a foundation for a new business, wanting to set the foundation for something, because the Four of Wands speaks to a foundation that is seen and celebrated by others. But with the Ace of Wands coming in, there may be, with you kind of going into a hermit mode, there may be something here that wasn't originally seen, or that you need to kind of get into this place of soul seeking to discover something about yourself, so that it will lead to this inspiration. It'll lead to maybe this new plan of action. Now, why do I say that? Because looking at kind of what's going on from the past, moving into the present, we have the Seven of Swords, which is a card of kind of self-sabotage or avoidance, with the Eight of Cups, which means that for some of you, you might have been kind of avoiding what you know you've long needed to walk away from, something that hasn't, something that wasn't fulfilling, something that you did invest a lot of emotional energy into. And at one point, it did seem like this was something that was going to be fulfilling for you, that you were leading towards the Ten of Cups. But ultimately, at some point, and probably, in the recent past or currently, you realized, as much time and energy as I put into this, as much emotional investment as I put into it, it just no longer is fulfilling. And it's time for me to go out in search of those two additional cups to see where my Ten of Cups lies. That Ten of Cups is the happy family. The Ten of Cups is kind of touching our vision of heaven on earth. It's also that feeling of true emotional fulfillment in our experience. And when we have the Six of Cups, which is interesting, this is kind of going back to the past. The Six of Cups is the energy of getting a gift from the past. It can be making peace with the past. It could also be going back to a past version of yourself. A more innocent version, a part of you, getting more in touch with that version of yourself kind of before you had to go through, maybe before you dedicated so much time and energy into this. Now, what's interesting with the Eight of Cups and the Six of Cups, there's an innate Two of Cups coming through here, and that is intimate connection, it's equal partnership, it's connecting authentically and vulnerably with others. So there might have been a point here where you had maybe attempted to connect with a partnership, with a close friend, a family member, a romantic partner, and it didn't work out. And you were long kind of, with the Three of Swords coming in underneath here. This is heartache. It's the wounds from the past. And for many of you, you were kind of, I think, not wanting to really dive into that, to really see where that source of the pain came from. And it was what was holding you back from really moving, kind of almost like resetting, going back to that original version of yourself who had, before you'd gone through that difficult period, before you went through that disappointing heartache, whether this is in a work environment, whether this is in a romantic environment, going back to that time and saying, I'm gonna get back to myself without the wounding, without the heartache, when I felt good about what I was investing in. And I think that that's going to give you kind of a new perspective now on what you want to build out here. And maybe where when you tried to, this could even be where maybe something from the past is coming back up again, that maybe you guys have an opportunity to, start a new relationship that is going to maybe lead to marriage, or you have a new chance to maybe start a new foundation for a company, or for a new career path. And maybe now you're realizing, okay, maybe it didn't work out in the past. Or maybe now I need to really take a look here. It's giving me a new perspective of, you know what, I'm going to be very clear this time as to what I bring to the situation so that I don't kind of go through that period of maybe looking before I leap. And therein lies, for some of you, this might actually be, the Ace of Wands can represent a pregnancy, or like kind of like, because it does represent conception and inception. It can be the conception of a new idea or a new, again, inspiration in general. But this can also be the conception of an actual child. So for some of you, there may be that kind of going on here too, that maybe there's something here where you've maybe wanted that and you've been prevented from that. And it's because I think you have to kind of reclaim a lost version of yourself. But the Fool can really be kind of that, the Fool reverse can be that stopping to just look before you leap. The Fool really is the individual who's looking upwards towards the heaven, and he's ready to, with full faith, just take the step off the edge of the cliff. And it is kind of how we have to move into new cycles, right? We can't be 100% sure of exactly what's going to happen when we decide to move into the new. But this can also say that there are times when we are moving towards the new where we do have to learn from the mistakes of the past, or from where, again, we invested our time and energy into something that didn't work out. Oh, this is interesting. So I just did Sagittarius's reading, and the Four of Pentacles came out in the exact same spot. So for some of you, you may have a strong Sagittarius placement in your chart. You may be dealing with the Sagittarius in your life. They are your opposing sign, so they will be going through very similar things, but just from a different perspective than what you're going through. Okay. Yeah, and theirs was very centered around the Ace of Pentacles too, which is interesting. But there are times in our life where we do have to stop and we do have to kind of learn our lessons. We have to and apply them in a way that is not where we learn our lessons in a negative way, saying, well, I'm never going to do that again because the last time it didn't work out. It's saying, no, I maybe didn't honor a part of myself and who I was in this last process. So now I'm going to do it a little differently this time. And I'm going to do it with maybe a fresh inspiration. This could be also where maybe you realize that, wow, what was wrong with my last marriage was that I hid a part of myself, or I didn't honor a certain part. And now I'm going to bring that part, that inspiration to the new relationship, or the new career path, or the new, whatever it is, that you're being kind of called in with the Fool to start anew. Now, the Four of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, Nine of Wands at the heart of your reading, which is kind of he can be like the weary, wounded warrior, but he can also be the heroic warrior who he keeps going. He's gone through the battle and he's here, and he has all of those lessons he's learned, and almost wears them like a badge of honor. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords, which is, here's your opportunity. And I think for many of you, you're worried about this because it's about leaving a comfort zone. So we'll go into that here. Four of Pentacles. This is when we are holding ourselves back. It's where we're kind of clinging to that stability of, okay, well, I've gotten to my place. This can be like where you finally get to that place of, financial security, and you're like, okay, this is good. It's been a long period of time for me to get here. Or this can be also where maybe the same thing within a work environment, wherever you feel like you kind of plateaued, but it's like your safe space. You're like, I'm good. It's not everything I wanted, but if I have to invest a little into something else, I might have to go back. I might lose what I have. I might lose the stability that I have. And what this is saying is, if you stay in this place of, it's kind of interesting because I always see specifically in this deck, and I don't know if you can see it here. This looks like it's like a woman kind of looking down, and it's a man here. And I always get the feeling with this specific card that it's almost like the woman's waiting for this individual to propose or something like that. And the guy's like, trying not to realize, trying to pretend like he's not realizing that that's kind of like what needs to happen. Or she might have asked, like, hey, like, where are we going in this relationship? We've been dating for 6 months. Are we serious or not? And he's kind of like, I'm just going to ignore that question. So there's something here that might be coming through for some of you Geminis about maybe the avoidance of knowing where you need to invest, knowing where it's time to now commit in some form or fashion. And it's saying with the Ace of Pentacles on the other side that if you can kind of get past this energy of maybe holding yourself back out of fear of loss, out of fear of destabilization, out of fear of maybe committing because of what has happened in the past, there is the opportunity here for a new start, for the seed of what is going to grow towards your 10 of Pentacles, which is the Ace of Pentacles. And I think for many of you, there's this like feeling of like, do I want to invest in this new start? Do I want to invest in this possibility? And it's almost like you're like, I'm just going to ignore that for a minute. And maybe you're ignoring it for a minute because you're going within to say, is this what I really want? But with the 9 of Wands at the heart of your reading, this is what Spirit's asking you to embrace, to really get through and past this kind of like, I don't know. I'm just going to sit here and hold firm to my 4 Pentacles. Because the 9 of Wands is the individual who says, you know how far you've come. You know the difficulties you've gone through. The weary, wounded warrior, yes, he's weary. Yes, he's burned out. But he looks back and says, wow, I had the courage to get this far, and I did it on my own. And so it's really giving yourself that kind of kudos, that pat on the back to say, yeah, I did make it here. I did do all of this, and I was strong enough. But there's also the element of, the shadow side of this is that you can kind of get stuck in that victimization mindset of, yeah, I've gone so much. I have to do everything on my own. I have to just keep slogging away. And this is where you get to kind of change that mindset into, wow, I'm powerful. I've taken action and I know what I'm capable of. And if I have to go fight again, I am 100% ready to do that. And I have the skills to do that if it needs to come to that. Now we have the 9 of Pentacles on the other side and the 9 of Swords. So the 9 of Pentacles is a beautiful card of, this is of true abundance. It's that getting to that level of like a place of true independence in your finances. It's getting to that place of, you really have the perfect balance of time and energy and money and all of that. And you have lots to be able to enjoy. The 9 of Pentacles is when we get a chance to kind of stop and smell the roses, so to speak. We get to really see the fruits of our labor, of all this hard work you've put in. But it can also become the gilded cage. It can also become where we are holding ourselves back from going out in pursuit of the last pentacle. And that last pentacle might bring in a new cycle. But it also, that cycle leads to then, you go from the 9 plus the ace to the 10 of coins, to the 10 of Pentacles, which is our ultimate legacy fulfilled. That is the wealth we want to amass. That is the home. That is the creative projects we want to leave behind. It's all of that. And I think for many of you, you know that how far you've come has become that gilded cage. And therein lies the worry, the 9 of Swords. If I leave this, if I leave my safe space in pursuit of this new opportunity, it might not work out. It could go bad. I might lose out. I might have to go through what I went through before, and it's going to be difficult, and I'm already exhausted. But I think what it's actually going to do is it's going to bring in a new opportunity for a foundation with fresh inspiration that you are not even realizing at this point. Because the 9 of Wands can speak to just being exhausted to where you feel like you can't get inspired, where you're just like, oh, I'm in the thick of it. And what's interesting is if you can have the courage to make this change, to invest in something, or to, this can be where maybe you're looking to get a new job, or you're looking to maybe invest in a new place where you want to live. Like this could be where you've saved a bunch of money and now it's time to go from that 1-bedroom apartment to putting the money down on a home. And you're like, I don't know. It's taken me so long. I was in such financial straits before. I lost everything in a divorce. And I'm good with my 1-bedroom apartment and my savings account that says I have $125,000 in there. And so if I spend that, then I'll go back to having no savings again. But this is saying, but that's actually leading to the fresh start, to the new foundation. And getting that new home, you might move into that home and be like, oh my gosh, I get to decorate. I get to use the kitchen that I never really was able to do in my 1-bedroom apartment because the appliances were old. And suddenly there's this like reconnection to just inspiration in general. Meaning that in taking this chance and moving towards this home, yeah, you got out of a comfort zone and now you're starting to realize, oh my gosh, I forgot that I loved to cook. I forgot that I loved to have my cup of coffee in the morning while looking out, the window at the beautiful vista. And those are the things that then lead back to this reconnection to the self, that bring in this fresh connection to everything. And therein is the start of the next cycle to bring in your ultimate legacy, your ultimate level of abundance. Okay. So let's go ahead here and see for the 4 of Pentacles. Why are you holding yourself back from making this investment or change or taking this new opportunity? Okay, yes, we have the Ace of Swords. That's clarity. I think for many of you actually, as you've been going through this soul seeking, there has been clarity around where you've been holding yourself back from moving into the new. And probably the why. Because the Ace of Swords represents a new truth. A fresh perspective on your truth. And Justice. Yeah, justice can be a contract. So for some of you, there might be clarity around a contract, around a marriage contract, around a business contract. But it can also be around clarity as to where something was imbalanced, and where now taking this new opportunity, making this investment in yourself, or making this change is going to actually bring something back into balance. Okay, let's take a look at, but this could also be clarity around a contract that's coming in and you're realizing, gosh, it's time for me to break that and I haven't wanted to, or it's time for me to take that and make that contract. Again, this could be the individual who is procrastinating on proposing, or the individual who's procrastinating on telling someone that they love them and they want to move in together. This could be the individual who is procrastinating on telling their boss that, yes, I'm going to take the opportunity that for the advancement in my position, so keep that in mind. Okay, so the Ace of Pentacles. We have the 5 of Coins. Yeah, the fear. That's a poverty mindset. The fear is that when we go from the 4 of Pentacles, then if we try to do anything else, well, you're going to be stuck kind of out in the cold. That we'll be all alone with our new start, with our fresh pentacle. That we'll spend that money on that house, and suddenly we'll lose our jobs and then we won't be able to pay for the mortgage. Something like that, where it's like you kind of go down this with the 9 of Swords, that negative what if. Like, I'm safe here. If I go down this way, then I don't know what's going to happen. But with strength coming in and the Page of Cups, this is saying have the strength. Again, here's that Leo energy coming through again. Have the strength to support your inner child. That's what the Page of Cups represents. That's what you discover with the 6 of Cups, is that inner child, the gift that you bring forward of your inner child, and you bring it forward into your present day experience. And this is saying have the strength to know that this opportunity, this new start, this commitment to something is going to honor that part of yourself. Okay. So let's see about the 9 of Wands. Again, there's a big theme here around getting back to the original version of yourself before you got to the place of burnout, before you went through the original heartache. Emperor coming in. that is really stating, it's very powerful. It's realizing you are the emperor to your own empire. You get to call the shots. You get to make the decisions. You get to say what's, for your own, what's within your own best interest. But it's all, it's really taking ownership. And the emperor helps us get out of that victimized, mindset of like, oh, I'm over here being overworked and I'm always overworked. And this is saying, well, maybe now it's time to stop that cycle. Maybe it's time to leave that workplace. Maybe it's time to, stop being the person at the bottom of the, rung where everybody just gives you all the little nothing work. And that's what's been burning you out. And it's time to take the advanced position. It's time to level up and say, okay, I am going to take that managerial position. Or this is saying, gosh, it's been so long. It's been so hard. I've been through so many bad relationships. And I just, I can't go into another relationship, or this person wants me to commit and I just can't do it because, and this is saying, wait a second, hard stop. What does your inner child want? What does the version of yourself before you went through all that really want? Because with the Eight of Wands, this is saying you have the ability to communicate from that place, to actually really, create a very quick change. Eight of Wands is fast-moving energy. It's actually going back a wand from the Nine of Wands, which I think maybe is where this Ace of Wands is coming from here, where it's almost like, remember what it felt like to feel and flow? Remember what it felt like when things were moving, when you were going towards something where you were in control of your life experience? And I think when you kind of realize, look how far I've come, look what I'm capable of, let me just put down these wands, get back to my level of inspiration, realize I'm going to step back up into my full power of this is my life, this is what I'm going to do, I can handle this change, and suddenly things just start to go. Eight of Wands can also be quick communication. This can be, you get that email for that, that new job, where you get the text message from the individual who wants, is like, I love you. I just had to tell you. Okay, so for the Nine of Pentacles, we have the Empress and the Page of Coins. Yeah, love it. This is saying you're the Empress. The Empress can just forever create. She can create more. She is the ultimate depiction of our ability to create, our ability to hold space for what we want to bring in, and to understand that we have all of our within all of our own abilities to literally manifest abundance for ourselves. And the Page of Coins is saying, yeah, you can manifest abundance for yourself. The Page of Coins is the curious child who wants to go out with this or with this Ace of Coins and say, let me see what I can do with this. Let me see what might lie beyond the gates of my gilded cage, because I know that I can create for myself more. I know this is almost like in honor of your creative self. Again, this could be for some of you with the Empress coming in again around pregnancy, perhaps, or wanting to pursue that. But it can also be more just about your creativity, that this might actually be the key to unlocking a creative part of yourself, maybe a new job, again, a new home environment, a new maybe you want to move to a whole new location, it could even be a geographical change. But there's something here around getting ready to go out there with this kind of fresh, curious, optimistic, I'm going to just see what happens. And I'm going to know by doing that I'm going to unlock my inner creativity, the inner creative individual who can give birth to ultimately what I want out here. And then there's the Fool and the positive. Yes, that's the worry. The worry is that if you leap, you might go, you might go back and start the cycle again. You might make the same mistakes. This is saying, but this time This time you did the soul seeking. This time you know what part of yourself you lost. And this time when you leap, you can do so with faith that you're making the right decision. Let's see if anything else wants to come out before I pull your final cards here. And the Devil. Yeah, it's just the Devil is the chains that we hold ourselves back by. The Devil is, where we hold ourselves, to those stories of, yes, but I can't go through that again. This could even be being tied to a past relationship that ended negatively. And you're like, yeah, but I still love that person. I can't go into a new relationship. Yes, but, the last time I failed. So I'm just going to stay chained to this and I'm not going to jump into the new. And this is saying, no, it's time. It's time. And this time you are looking before you leap. This time you are honoring your inner child. This time you have learned those lessons. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Cups. Four of Cups speaks to what isn't fulfilling anymore. This speaks to you're looking at everything in your life and you're saying, yeah, but there needs to be more. And what is that more? What's his one cup? It's what the Page of Cups is discovering. It's almost like, again, with the Six of Cups, getting that gift from the past version of yourself. The cup is coming forward and saying, remember your cup. Remember your needs. Remember what you love. And start to bring that forward. And that's what's going to help kind of overcome this, like, my life is boring or nothing is quite satisfying. And it's saying it's because you got to a point where you've been stuck for a while. And it's time now to make a commitment to the new. Okay, so let's pull an energy oracle here. Let's go ahead and see. What does Gemini need to know? What does Gemini need to know? Magician in the Mirror. Oh, I love this for you guys. Okay, so this really does kind of bring in the energy of the Temperance card in the tarot. You see the individual here with the kind of the fire and the, cooling the water energy. It's learning how to temper your passion with your emotions and understanding the importance and the alchemical magic that can happen when we bring both of those into everything that we choose to do. You have the wand. This is the flame, the fire of passion. We have your cup. The cup is the wellspring of your emotions and understanding and how to integrate those to create magic in your life. But I also love too that this card specifically speaks to in this deck that others are waiting to see your magic. Others see your magic more than, it's like when you think about like the world kind of mirroring back to us what we want to see or what we don't want to see. There's this feeling here of, maybe you're so caught up in not wanting to look in the mirror, not wanting to see your own magic, but yet there are others around you who are rooting for you. They see what you're capable of. And yes, with the Five of Swords, that's the card of kind of, avoidance of wanting to win at all costs. That's the individual who's like, no, I'm not going to see it. Not going to see it. Yeah, you can tell me how I could do it a bunch of different ways. You could tell me that it's time to do something differently. And I'm just, no. And the Queen of Swords can kind of be the same. The Queen of Swords is the individual. The Queen of Swords knows how to tell her story. She knows what she's gone through. She knows the lessons learned in her life. And sometimes it can get to a negative place where she becomes jaded, where she says, yeah, but the last 2 times I got into a relationship, I was hurt. So I'm never going to get into a relationship again. And that's where you kind of take this defensive stance of like, well, I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to invest in that. I'm never going to commit to that. I'm never going to try something new in that realm because. And this is where you're holding the magic back. This is a lot of mental. Gemini, your sign rules the mind. It makes sense. But this is saying it's time now to start to kind of get out of the mind and into the heat of passion and the realm of your emotions and see what magic this time those 2 things can create when you're not wrapped up in your mind and in worry and anxiety. Okay, let's pull a final card here. We're going to pull Power of Surrender card. This is one of my favorite decks. I love the messages that come through here. Let's see. What does Gemini need to know? Something? I guess. Oh, goodness. We got 3. Surrender worry. Yeah, I love it. Surrender the worry. It says, make a commitment not to lead an anxiety-driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body. Focus on the power of your heart and have faith that Spirit is guiding you always. Then we have surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs and remember that no is a complete sentence. I like this. There really is a feeling here of getting back in touch with you, with what you need to feel supported. And again, it may be that in this time, in this relationship, that's the less, maybe jumping into a new relationship, that's what you're learning. Or maybe in moving into a new work environment, that's what you're learning. You know, I'm going at this time, I'm not going to be the one that says yes to everybody who wants to put more on my plate. Or I'm not going to say yes to somebody who wants to come in and, kind of bulldoze me in the love department. This is, again, the surrender to setting limits shows, again, you know what you've learned from the past, and you know how as you move into this new cycle that you'll put up the right limits and say no to the things that don't honor that inner child, that inner part of yourself that you kind of lost in the last experience. And then I like how it says surrender low self-esteem. It says you deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem. And that could be what's been really holding you back, is really get to the heart of where you maybe felt in that last cycle that it kind of brought you to that place of maybe you felt like, I'm not capable of that. Or maybe even right now as you're facing maybe this opportunity, this job advancement, this leveling up in a romantic partnership, whatever the opportunity, this new opportunity is, saying you are more than capable. Again, 9 of Wands. You've been through a lot. You are a very capable individual. And own it. Own it this time, because that's what's going to really bring the magic for you. I'll pull just a couple clarifiers to see if anything else wants to come out here. Does anything else want to come out for Gemini before I close out this reading? 10 of Swords, yeah. It's about facing a time in your life where it was very difficult. The 10 of Swords is that lowest point in your life where you were brought to your knees. Whether it was, through, sometimes this can come through a death in the family. Sometimes this can come through just unforeseen circumstances external to us. And sometimes this can be where we kind of led ourselves to this point. But it does say that time is in the past. And that the worry around, is this going to happen? Am I going to be placed in that position again? Or am I going to be possibly going down a road just to where I'm going to feel that way? And this is saying no. That's done, and it's time to surrender the worry around that future what if, where where you're just, it's overkill. See if anything else wants to come in. If not, I'll end the reading here. Gemini, this is such a positive reading. This is really saying that there's an opportunity now to really support the authentic you, to build a firm foundation that's going to really reignite your creativity. And it's the time to go for it. So we have Queen of Swords and King of Wands. Love that. Here's the Leo energy. This is the fiery individual. This is the CEO. And then we have the Queen of Swords again. This is the individual who is really understands her story. And for many of you, this is actually your power can come from knowing your story, but changing how you express that, changing how you go from the mind. This is almost like melding the mind and the passion together. Really understanding I'm having the strength of mind to lead from a place of what you're passionate about. Now, for some of you, this could also be maybe if you're looking at being in a couple with somebody else, this can be where you get to really bring what you're good at, Gemini, which is your ability to use your mind, to be very analytical, to really kind of sum up, let me look at all the things, let me look at all the lessons learned. And then you might be working with an individual here that is kind of a King of Wands, maybe is a business owner, maybe is somebody who is kind of Leo or lion-hearted, who takes action based on what they're passionate about. And this could be a great partnership for you guys. When we think of fire and air feeds fire. So It can be a really great kind of combustible combustible energy. But it can also be too, again, just bringing these two sides to yourself into alignment so that your story feeds this powerful, passionate leader that wants to come out in this next cycle. Okay. Again, there's a lot of coming up to this reading. A lot of the past readings were all about really learning the power and the magic of your words, of thoughts. And I think this is kind of with the Queen of Swords and the King of Wands. That's really what this is speaking to. Understanding the power of what you tell yourself about your own story and how you express that to others, and how that can actually be that catalyst to really light your internal flame so others see you as the King of Wands. Okay, I'll leave it there. This reading got a lot longer than I was expecting, but I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead and get ready for the new cycle. Do so with full confidence that, again, this is in support of your authentic self. All right, bye, Gemini. See you next week.